wouldn't understand it. Do you understand that? If you made a movie about, in the days of King Arthur, about laser weapons, the soldier would know what the hell that movie is about. But you got armored suits and you whack away at the guy and you ride on a horse and knock the guy off the horse. Those movies would not be interesting to really advanced military people. Nor would our people today like the future. If you took your grandmother to Miami Beach and she saw the girls with their butts hanging out, they've gone too far. And your grandmother, where she's coming from, that would be right. That's why you can't take people of today and put them in the future and say, how do you like it? Well, there's no horses pulling the wagons. How do the cars move? And they wouldn't understand. What do you mean a refrigerator? Where do you get the ice for the refrigerator? Does the Iceman bring it? You know, and I tell a story about women that live off Ireland. This is a true story. They wear a harness like a cow, and they carry 2 buckets of water from the river. Where they bring their clothes down, they wash in the river. Then they bring the buckets of water up the hill, which is 500 feet, and they cook, boil water. Then they take animal fat and melt it, and they make oil for the lamps. They light the lamps. But if you tell that woman, someday woman, you turn a faucet and hot water will come out. You turn another faucet, cold water. You won't have to go down to the river. She'll look at you like that. Then you say, and all you do is press a button, the light goes on. You don't need to skin the fat. She says, what will women do? What can women do? Because women are brought up to cook, to wash the baby's ass, to change the diapers. In the future, all that will be automatic. But normal women today say, well, if I don't cook for my husband, who will? If I don't wash his clothing, who will? They don't know there's other ways of doing things. You know, women in the Arab world are not allowed to drive cars. Do you know that? So some Arabs do, that have been to the United States and learned different things. But a lot of countries are very primitive. Women sit home weaving clothing. There are islands in the South Pacific where women can carry 500 pounds. That's a lot of weight. And the men put on wet makeup all day long. They do no work. They're skinny and weak. Did you know that? But if you show movies like that, where women pick up the guy and say, how are you? Guy says, put me down, I want to. And that's the way they're brought up there on those islands. So women can do anything, but they're not brought up that way in our country. Women, you make love to them, you make babies, but women given a role. In the future, no role. What do you want to do? The woman says, I'm not sure. Show them all the things women can do. They become doctors, lawyers, engineers, scientists. Yeah. And men today are made macho. You know what that means? Muscle. Men. If a woman gets in your car and your car stops, she says, just a minute, lifts up the hood, makes an adjustment, now try it. And the car works well, then she picks you up and puts you in the car. You say, I don't like that.
I like it.
Because you're brought up in the given environment. The future, women will do everything. Astronomers, mathematicians, rocket experts, just like men. And they'll use the same washroom. It doesn't say men, women. And they'll swim nude when they're very young. And you can't sell girly magazines. And there's no peeping toms, no fetishes. But you have to undo all that. So if you bring up old people to retire, sit on a rocking chair, most people my age sit on a rocking chair. They talk about the old days, which to me is a pain in the ass. They never say anything new. When I was in the Army, boy, I shot those fucking chaps. You know, that's what they taught, the old days. And I don't associate with people my age because they're uninteresting. And I know it's not their fault, they're brought up that way. But in the future, older people will keep up with whatever is new, so you can talk to your kids. Otherwise, you'll become obsolete to your kids. they'll leave home when they're 18. You know what I mean? So if you keep up with what's new all the time, you'll never become dated. Now, if you got that camera, say, 50 years from now, same camera, what the hell's the matter with you? Do you understand? I think nowadays you know that 4 years from now, those cameras will be different. Your laptop will be smaller, lighter, faster, 100 times faster. And then you'll know that your laptop, I've got a model of the Earth home. It's a little model about this size. When you touch it, it says the Philippines, Hawaii. All you do is touch it. Then you can put population. You get all kinds of information from that globe. Everything, the depth of the ocean, the height of the mountains, and it's about 4 years old now. And the chips are getting smaller. That means in the distant future, they'll tell you where Sam lives when you point to the Earth. Do you understand what I'm getting at? The airliners of the future won't tell you there's a life raft under your seat. The whole cabin will be a life raft. So you got to understand that things are not fixed. There's no utopias, no best house. Your house is, like Roxanne says, you can paint the inside of your house any color. In the future, the walls are made of very little glass beads, and by light going to a different angle changes the color. So you dial the color you want the interior of the house to be. When you move out, he changes to his color. You know what I mean? You don't need to paint your house anymore. That's old shit. Roxanne's still painting it. You can paint your house any color. You can dial any color you want. Do you understand? So when you think about the future, you can tell your camera to take a picture of Aunt Minnie, and the camera says, I'll take care of the lighting. And the lighting will move to get the best shading. And the camera will take the picture, and there'll be no reject pictures either. They'll all be great. And all you have to do is tell your camera what to do. It'll move to different heights. In the studios, all the lights are on top, but they all move to where the actor moves to get the best lighting. Then the cameras photograph the guy from the ground line or aerial view, whatever is best for the situation. Do you understand? Guided missiles follow the heat of an airplane engine, and they go right into the engine, explode. Do you know that? Guided missiles find the airplane. The guy doesn't have to steer it. In the old days, they had to steer the missile into the airplane. Today, anti-aircraft guns first send radar up and pick up the enemy. Then it goes back. Then it picks up their speed. Then it moves the gun to where this plane's going to be in the next 20 seconds. Boom, fires. So the bullet meets the air. In the old days, used to fire at the airplane, not where it will be. So man can't do that. That's why I say machine governments in the future. Not because I like machines, because man can't do what machines can do. Can you understand that?
Do you have any other questions about his personal life?
One more. You just mentioned your age. Can you tell anything to people about how to live, that you stay fit until a higher age?
I don't think about my age. I just work. And it may be partly genetic, but my mother made 103. I don't know whether that's genetic, but I'm busy doing things on it. I don't get angry or mad at people. I can understand where they're coming from. Do you know what I mean? And let it go. You have to learn how to let go. If you come home one day and find your whole building is burned to the ground, that's real. You say, oh my God, that meant he never possibly imagined that. Anything can happen in this world. You can get cancer, I can get cancer, my kids can get cancer, do you understand? And so, if you say, I don't know, you come home, the whole city is wiped out, somebody dropped a bomb on your city. For whatever reasons, that's the reality. What do you do from then on? Not, oh my God, what's happened here? That means you always thought everything is going to be stable that way. He had a job for 20 years. Finally, the company said, we've automated your job. Out. because he didn't expect it. Whatever happens is real. What you think should have happened is not real. That's what people suffer from, what they expect. A girl falls in love with a guy, she likes the guy, the next day a friend says he was run over by a Mack truck. Completely lost. But if you have a world where Mack trucks can't hit a person, you can expect more. You know what I mean? You have no right in this world. We can get an airliner, it can crash tomorrow morning. So, well, Fresco was going on a world tour. It isn't right. Fuck that. What happens is real. Do you understand? Not what you think should happen. That's why people suffer a great deal. I know a guy whose son was run over by a car, a man, and he lost his mental equilibrium. And every car he saw for 20 years later used to scream and yell on the street at the cars. Because he said he was just a young boy, it wasn't fair. Whatever happens, happens. Fair he gets from God. Do the right thing, everything will be all right. Well, you know, when a hurricane comes, it blows a church away too. It doesn't go over the church, yes.
So you think we don't have control over our life?
Yes.
We shouldn't
don't.
worry about that?
Well, you have limited control. At night you can turn the lights on. In the old days they didn't have that control. The more knowledge we have, the more closer we come to predicting the weather. Sometimes we miss, but it's better than just looking up and guessing. But as the years go by, we will gain more and more control. Working with machines, of course. So you can say, theoretically, I'll be in Paris in 2.5 hours. But probably, but airplanes used to crash a lot in the old days, less today. So the probability is that you'll get to Paris in 2 hours. But there's always that chance. So people say to me, I don't know if I'll trust my life to a machine. Every time you get in an automobile or an airplane, you trust your life to a machine. You're always trusting your life to a machine. When you get in an elevator, you press 4, the cables will snap and fall. Most people trust machines more than they do people. They wouldn't want to be carried on the back of another person. In the old days, they used to be carried. The Pope is carried by 4 or 5 people the whole day. He would rather be in the maglev train, but he doesn't know they exist. So,
Do you
I
want,
would say, well,
I was gonna say, do you wanna bring it up to the research center, cause we have photos of the, and you know, footage of the research center, if you wanna add there.
Would be great,
Do
yes.
you wanna talk about?
We'd
Can I,
like to
can
be
I
this
stop you for a
smart.
second? Then I'll change the tape one more time.